Hey guys, welcome back to the Outriders Podcast, official podcast of digital and creative media works, where each week we take something from pop culture and try to break it down to better understand it. My name is David.
My name is Ben.
It's raining outside, and I did a test before,
and it's a cold, drizzly day.
It doesn't necessarily show up in the audio, but it might, so look forward to that.
If it gets heavier, it might.
It did on my shotgun mic, but I don't know about the condensers. So this week, we kind of try and do something different this month, because as you know, this year we've been trying to challenge ourselves to pick a new theme each month.
So this month?
Yeah, speaking of which, this month we're talking about challenging things. So whether it's a challenging film, a game, a TV show, whatever it is, things that are either like challenging to interact with or challenging to understand. So given that there's this big hoo-ha on the internet right now about this remake, I figured this week we would talk about the challenge of The Last Jedi.
What remake are you talking about, David? I'm pretty sure The Last Jedi is out and it's a film, and they're not remaking it. What are you talking about? So the
internet lost their fucking mind, and what happened was this group of, I assume, virgins, I can't confirm that, but I assume, have decided that what they're going to do is they're going to raise money to remake The Last Jedi, and they're going to pay Rian Johnson and the production crew at Lucasfilm to recreate this film. And they have a... Let me give you more context before you lose your lid. They have a backer, and they have they have several independent backers, but they have a backer, an unnamed backer, who, up to, I think, $150 million will like, dollar for dollar back it. So if they raise $150 million, they will get $300 million for the film. Yeah. They're up to, like, $250 million right now. So they're looking at, like, a budget more than the film cost to make.
So...
However, this is the important thing.
Okay.
Because I pledge money to this, right?
Wait, what the fuck?
Let me explain why. You don't have to put credit card information. You just say how much you're going to pledge. So, literally none of this money exists. No one has paid a single cent toward this project. People have just said they will. And there's no requirement to actually do it.
Can I pledge right now?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I just Google, like, Last Jedi Remake.
All right, I'm gonna pledge during this episode.
Yeah, I don't know if it works on mobile, but you should find out. So that's the situation we're in. So a bunch of people, because they're upset because it ruined characters they grew up loving or some bullshit. I don't know. They're upset because there's women and black people in their film, I guess. I don't know. Like... I rewatched The Last Jedi last night in anticipation for this episode.
Really?
Because, yeah, so...
That's unfortunate.
So I was able to rent it on YouTube for a very small amount of money. It's quite cheap right now.
Yeah.
Or I bought it on YouTube, rather. And I'll say this about The Last Jedi. When we came out of it initially, we were quite positive. We were like, this is a hot mess, but it's fun.
It was like, I enjoyed it. It was a film. It had a beginning, middle, and an end, and I didn't hate it.
Upon a rewatch, there is not really a beginning, a middle, and an end. What there is two stories that doth make no sense together. So I wrote some notes down, which I'm sure the audience will enjoy.
Right.
I'm just going to read you the one key note that I had from my rewatch, and then we'll get into sort of the analysis of like how people are talking about it and like the problem with the conversation around it and the discourse. So one of the biggest criticisms of the film when it came out is that the stuff on Canto Bight, like that space... Sorry. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, just this tweet. Wow, the remake The Last Jedi campaign has already raised over 377 million imaginary dollars. That's almost zero in real dollars.
Got 'em, bitch. Yeah, none of it counts.
I will find the website later. It's hard to find.
So the main note that I had, so when the film came out, the Canto Bight stuff, which is a space casino, is very prequel-y. Like, big-time prequel-y. Like, they ride CGI horse things. And
so that's the casino.
That's the space casino.
The one that everyone hates.
Yeah, and it's no good. No. But the note that I made is, and this was interesting, because like when I first watched it, I was like, whatever, it's a big mess.
Star Wars, yeah.
But what I realized watching it last night with some time to digest and think through and like the criticism I've seen, it's not that Canto Bight is explicitly bad, it's that they wasted some really interesting opportunities with that setting. Right. So let me hit you with this, and then we'll talk about my problems with this film versus Solo and some other things. So the Canto Bight stuff is really wasted in an interesting way, because what you had was a setup for a cool espionage B-plot where Finn and Rose and what's his face, the creepy Coda guy,
the evil boy.
They could have done like a cool spy film thing where they dress up as like casino gamblers and they kind of sneak their way in, and it's like a high tense, like, you know, Casino Royale style. Yeah. Maybe like it's like a poker face-off or something, and like they have to kind of keep pretending that they belong, and that'd be kind of like fun and interesting. Whilst like, and that'd be fun because they're like indulging in this pretend while the ship is being like hammered by these, you know, barrages by this big First Order ship. But what you got was like this kind of mess that reeks of the prequels. And what I've started to realize is reading a lot of internet comments, which is what I did after I watched the film, the biggest problem people have is not that it's explicitly bad, but just that like they wasted that opportunity. Because okay, let me paint you a picture, Ben. Because in the film, if you recall correctly, Poe Dameron dislikes the new commander because Leia's unconscious. She did the space wizard thing.
Yeah.
Gone to the ship. We'll keep it, I guess, because she's dead, so she gets to have a space
I
wizard
just pledged $5,000 to remake the Jedi.
I love it. Thank you. What was the max? 10,000?
I don't know. They only said 5,000.
I think it's 10,000 because I tried to. Yeah, if you. Yeah, but
my phone didn't
5,000,
scroll down.
Very generous.
Yeah, 5,000.
I love it.
I think the remake deserves 5,000.
It does. You know what? I think it does. Yeah. But like, I guess to me, that whole Canto Bight sequence struggles because it doesn't capitalize on the potential it presents. There's a sequence when I wrote that note where it's when they're riding the big horse things, and they go through this alleyway that's like a Victorian steampunk alleyway, but it's all like paved in gold. It looks like a Bloodborne setting, but it's all made of gold and like rivulets and stuff, and it looks gorgeous. And I'm like, why didn't we get an espionage?
I literally don't remember that, but
don't worry about it. Why didn't we get like an espionage B plot set in this really different, interesting city that we've never seen in Star Wars before?
Because people would have hated it anyway.
Instead, it's like horse racing with big
it's pod
things
with
big ears. Like I don't know what that's about.
It's the pod racer scene, but
so
with
I think kind of worse than the pod racing though, because pod racing's quite good.
Pod racing.
Yeah, whereas this is just nonsense.
Yeah.
Like they get on. Also, like okay, so there's a whole pack of these weird horse dog things.
Yeah.
And they get on one of them. Like there's two of them, and they're trying to evade being captured. Both of them don't need to get back. At this point, they're trying to escape because they've lost the Coda guy anyway.
Yeah.
Like they both should not get on the same one. They should get on different ones. Yeah. Like there's just a whole bunch of like weird logic things in this film that don't make any sense, but at least it's relatively cohesive as far as what it's trying to do. Like it's trying to kind of take Luke and Rey and be like, oh, there's like some moral complexity here, and like Luke doesn't want the Jedi to come back, but what he realizes is the Jedi isn't the code or the text, it's the people that believe in hope and all that kind of stuff. Like there's kind of interesting things in this.
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, but like it's nice. Like you got, even Yoda, when I rewatched it, I quite liked his inclusion. The puppet's not great, but like his role in that is awesome, and like the way that he decenters the Jedi and like destroys the temple. Like I thought that was really cool and like really interesting. But I get why people hated it so much. So I wanted to talk a bit about like that like vitriol and fire that came from this film. Where like people just wanted to like kill Rian Johnson, and they sent like death threats and rape threats to the woman who plays Rose. So she left Twitter.
Yeah, she left Instagram
like,
as well.
If you followed any of Daisy Ridley's social medias, people are just like constantly threatening to like rape and murder her, and it's like, okay, here's the thing, real quick. If you like a thing, right? Say, let's say you like Rice Krispies,
right?
Like, what are they called here? A bubble, whatever. Rice Puffs. Yeah, what are they called? Not Cocoa Puffs. What are they called?
The Rice Bubbles.
Rice Bubbles. Yeah, that's the one.
Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
Snap, Crackle, and
Rice Krispies have like a lot more sugar.
Snap, Crackle, and Pop, bitch.
Pretty sure. Here
yeah, well, because Cocoa's got some flavor to it. Yeah. Whereas that was a big thing in Australia.
Rice Krispies has like a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Rice Bubbles is just...
Rice Bubbles is mostly just empty
rice.
air. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird that you can eat rice for breakfast as cereal. That's a topic for another day.
You can eat corn for breakfast as cereal as well.
But let's hypothetically say that, like, that's the thing you love. If someone came out with a new flavor of Rice Krispies and they were still selling the old flavor of Rice Krispies, and you sent rape and death threats to the person that designed and flavored the old and the new flavor, like not just one but both, that's an insane thing to do.
Yeah.
Like that's actually fucking mental that they were like, we want to remake this film because we think that they've ruined Luke Skywalker. By the way, Mark Hamill is fucking 60-something and looks incredible. Like, he looks almost in better shape than I do, right? And he's old as shit.
Yeah.
And they want to remake the film because they think that Rian Johnson ruined Luke Skywalker. What did you want him to do? Flips and shit like Yoda in the prequels? Like,
I feel like there's... I was thinking about this before, about why... Like, what Star Wars... Like, where it's sitting at the moment compared to a lot of other pop culture, and where Star Wars was previously. So, like... We live in a world where Marvel films are kind of the biggest films. Like Marvel is just kind of dominating.
At least
like
for
the
us.
action film, nerd geek kind of culture.
Look at Infinity War, the amount of money it made.
Yeah, and like that gets enough backlash, but it doesn't get the same kind of backlash as Star Wars. Like that.
Yeah.
That is like that. We can. That's a fact. Like
Marvel
Marvel films get like the most heat they get is people going like, it's more Marvel, this is dumb.
Yeah, or it's like really
weird
small comic book nerds who are like, well, Captain America doesn't work like that. Like,
or it's like
very...
adjacent stuff where people were like angry at Black Panther because they're kind of
they're racist, or they just think there's too many of them.
Yeah, which is a valid criticism
of what are too many films.
Yeah,
sure, but like that's not a criticism of the films.
It's a criticism of the
company.
Yeah, so like Marvel is currently the biggest, and you have Star Wars, which is like Star Wars has been around for fucking ages. I think there's a weird thing where because if you think about like the films leading up to Infinity War with Marvel, so like Infinity War is like the climax of the current MCU. It's like it's like the end of Phase 3. It's like next.
Well, like Endgame is like
the.
The next one is called Endgame, and it's like the final
spoilers, by the way.
Well, that's what the code word for. No one knows. It's probably going to be.
It's probably going to be called.
They can change it. The Russo brothers can change it.
Yeah, they'll probably change it.
But yeah.
But it's like when we were watching sort of those earlier films, those earlier Marvel films, we kind of knew where they were going. So like, when Thor Ragnarok happened, it was like, okay, cool. This is like completely unrelated to Infinity War, but it's like a good bish bash, and then it ends
leading up to that.
And we know what it leads into. And then like even like Black Panther, it's like it was just one big subplot, but we know what it leads into, so it's like, okay, this is fine. It's introducing a character that
progressing the world. That's going to
it's introducing a character that needs to be there for Infinity War. Everyone was like, this is fine because Infinity War. Even the films that weren't super good,
so progressing the world,
like Black Panther, you could argue, not the best one of the past Phase 3.
Possible.
It was just good.
Yeah.
But like not like, it's no Homecoming, it's no
not
Ragnarok.
Homecoming of Guardians 2. Yeah.
But everyone was like, this is fine because Infinity War, and like it leads into Infinity War. You think about Star Wars, so like the original trilogy, that's just like groundbreaking. That's your Iron Man 1, 2, 3. Like they don't, or like your pre-Avengers films. Like they don't actually have to lead anywhere.
No.
They're just good on their own.
Or
at least they're decent on their own.
It's like the first Alien film.
Yeah.
Like you just go, this is like something no one's ever done.
Yeah, they knew they're fresh. It builds an audience because it's like, it's really interesting. When you have the prequels are interesting because the prequels had an end point. We knew what the end of the prequels was going to be. It was going to be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So even though those films stumbled and they aren't amazing, you can still look back at them and be like, they're still kind of enjoyable to watch if you kind of just ignore the garbage.
They're going somewhere.
Yeah, because you can follow the leads and you can be like, that's really cool because I know where this is leading. And it's like the same with the sort of pre-Infinity War films where it's just like, they kind of give like little bits here and there, little spicy moments where you're like, that's cool because that's going to happen.
I mean, even
Infinity
like
War.
Solo and Rogue One are both like that, where they
have an end point, so you know where. Solo to a less degree. Rogue One is pretty.
Rogue One to the point where it's like a fault, but like Solo to the point where like some of that works and some of it doesn't. Like the shooting first thing was awesome, but some of the other stuff was like the fact that his name was Solo is because he's alone. Like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But like you know where it's going.
Yeah, like Rogue One, the best part of Rogue One is the Darth Vader scene because that just pulls you right. Like that's literally like exactly when that scene starts, you're like, we're about to fucking see Darth Vader. Like that, and that's like that's like 10 seconds
why don't you just make
of it just gets you going.
Just make a Darth Vader film. Anyway, I think that film is dog shit, but yeah.
Oh, I mean it is, but like it goes somewhere. You know what's gonna happen.
So what are you trying to say?
So the faults of something like Rogue One, you're able to like, when you're watching it, you're able to be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care because I know what's going to happen. So you're able to kind of just be like, you're able to just only engage with the things that actually matter to the story,
right?
External to the film.
So you mark up the faults as like, well, that's a result of them trying to get to the place.
Yeah. So there's stuff that is only relevant to the current film you're watching, and then there's little pillars that are relevant to the rest of the universe.
Overarching.
Yeah, and as long as those pillars are good, most people will be like, it was a cool film because it had all these cool nods to the rest of the series, even though the film was dog shit.
And it's like, hey, Tony Stark was in that one.
Yeah.
He's in all of them. Like,
and it's like those pillars that kind of connect you to the whole universe and they make you feel good. Current Star Wars...
And also because you feel like you know something that like you're in the cinema and you're like, oh, well, like I understood that reference, and you feel
Yeah.
kind of like you're in on the narrative.
So like current Star Wars has nothing.
We don't know.
We have no idea where it's going.
because they've ditched so much of like obviously all the
And-
previous canon stuff. is
Yeah,
gone.
and the only pillars you have are pillars to the original trilogy, which just make people spiteful.
Yeah.
That's it, because they don't even look at the prequels.
So
Yeah, there's no pillars to the well, except for Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, which is the great.
But yeah, again, like that was like that's the best part of the prequels is
Yeah.
Darth Maul. So pulling a pillar from the prequel being Darth Maul and putting it in Solo made you get excited. You're
Do
like,
you think? Okay.
I'm excited for the next Solo film because I think there's going to be more Darth Maul. But it's like
yeah.
Episode 9. Fucking, I don't know what's going to happen
I think this feeds into like a larger issue with the way that like
with film and
well, like-
culture.
well, like-
yeah, no,
well, like,
exactly.
the way that okay, so like it's been said to death. Like this whole thing of like prequels and sequels and like no one has original IP anymore. Like sure, whatever. Like that's a discussion for someone else. But I think what you've hit on is interesting to me because I think there is this like insecurity that like this, and apparently with some was like it's rampant where there is this just this people are so unsure of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So unsure. They're so afraid of what the next step in the saga might be that they lash out and like whatever whatever anxiety they're feeling in like their actual life, they lash out to this extent where it's like, they're doing these death threats and these rape and all of these things they're doing, and it's because they don't know what's going to happen next.
And it's like at least, this isn't like an episode 6 situation where like, that was purely uncharted territory where it was like, what happens next is exciting. Now it's like people are like angry at the possibility of what happens next.
Right. Well, because after like 6 to 7, like you went from like Return to Force Awakens, and like that is such a jump. Like okay, again, because we hadn't had Star Wars for so long.
Yeah.
Like an actual Star Wars film, that there was sort of like this sacred protectiveness to it, where it was
People were like, don't touch 6.
It was like owned by a generation.
So they're like,
right?
all right, we'll put a 20-year gap between
And that was
them.
and like what the result
That's a
was.
smart idea.
Yeah, and the result was like a Star Wars for a new generation.
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
know that you don't want to hear that if you love Star Wars, but like it's not for you. You're 35. Go out and talk to real humans. This is for kids who are like looking for something new and exciting to believe in.
You look at like
It's to sell toys. You don't buy toys.
Yeah,
I
like
hope if you're 35.
You look at like sort of the like people who are getting excited for this film, and they're like, yeah, it's like 12-year-olds. Like you have kids swinging.
man.
You have kids swinging around like the toy.
They
bloody,
play fighting with lightsabers.
the
and
toy
blasters.
bloody crossblade fucking whatever Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Like
Oh
it's the
yeah,
coolest thing
it's
ever.
so cool.
And it's like
Yeah.
all these and like everyone else was like, that wouldn't work as a real lightsaber. It's like kids don't give a
And
fuck.
they're just having like
And-
a great
and
time.
kids are the target audience for Star Wars.
Like yeah, and the I think when people are talking about like these aren't for us, these films are no good, blah, blah. It's like yeah, but like think about and again like remember when you were a kid, right? And because kids don't get this anymore because the internet exists and like iPhones, all this bullshit. Like, but I tweeted about this the other day because I was thinking about it. Because I was going through my old belongings because I've just moved, as those of you who follow this podcast know, and I was drudging through our boxes and I found this bunch of old original Xbox games.
yeah.
And they were in my car for like a week and a half because I just couldn't be fucked to move them. But I finally moved them out. And I was like looking through them and they had these instruction booklets, right?
Oh my god!
But here's-
instruction manuals.
But here's the thing. Here's what blew my mind is I just was like flipping through them, and like one of them was for like a Lord of the Rings. I think it was like the Return of the King, which is like one of the best Lord of the Rings games. And I was flipping through it, and I was like remembering the excitement that I felt in the car on the drive home reading the booklet.
it. Like yeah.
And I remember I have this distinct memory of like I flipped a page. It was like the end of the booklet, and there was like a page for notes. And I was like, this game is so good, you have to take notes. Oh my, I was like so excited, and I got home and I played it, and it was like better than what I thought it would be. But like, there was just this excitement that I felt because I was young and it was exciting. And it's like these fucking dudes who were like middle-aged,
I'm like, we're gonna remake Star
just-
Wars.
like kids love it. They're walking around with like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, and one of them is dressed as Rey, and they're make believe, and that's who Star Wars is for. It's the kid at the end of the Last Jedi who's got he does the Force burn thing. That's not like an allusion to like a greater. He's gonna become a hero later. It's like no,
Like that's the
this
kid.
film is for children to like feel that excitement and that imagine. They're space wizards, and it's exciting, and it's fun, and it's different, and it's interesting to them. And we just happen to be a generation that gets to enjoy that also. And I'm so tired of people pretending it's for them when like Ryan Johnson doesn't give a fuck what you think. He was trying to sell a film to kids that also sold toys.
Yeah.
That was good and like had interesting characters. And yeah, the Canto Bight stuff is dog shit nonsense.
Yeah, it's just bad.
It's just bad writing and bad filming, and like every part of it is bad. I think the actors are possible in it. And then when they kiss on the salt planet, I'm like, did they have chemistry? I don't think they did. But like, it's like, sure, whatever. Like that's a.
I think they could get. I mean, they just need more films. They just need like more time together.
Yeah, they had to sell like toys from a casino. Like I get it.
Yeah,
that's fine. But why this insistence on closing the discourse and being like, well, we're gonna remake it and we're gonna fix it.
So, if we have time, I want to talk about this remake situation.
Go for it.
Because I'm a big proponent of the prequel edit. So there was a group of people who took, and also there's the prequel edit, and then there's a big group of people who sort of original trilogy archivists. So I'll get to that later. Mm-hmm. So the prequel edit, there's like a 4-hour edit of all 3 of the prequel films that they were just like, we just want to take the best bits and kind of make the prequels into one film, like one really long film.
Do they keep any of Phantom?
They only keep Duel of Fates.
Do they flashback to it, or is it?
No, the film opens with Duel of Fates. Yeah,
that would have been so cool.
And only Duel of Fates, no cutaways to the other 2 things that are happening.
Well, we did a recut of that on our channel. It looks amazing.
Yeah, so you see, it opens with Obi-Wan seeing the death of his leader and him saying you have to protect the boy. And at this stage, you don't know who the boy is. And then it's like 20 years later, the boy's grown up.
Ah, that's so good.
And then it gets a little bit of the love story between him and...
To be fair, that plot really works.
Yeah.
It's just
the CG pair.
Suffocated by the rest of the film. Yeah.
They keep the CG pair, which I feel like they just did for a meme because that is fucking hilarious.
He's also a real tool. That's kind of the
and then the film ends with the film like it cuts out Grievous, it cuts out Dooku, most of Dooku, cuts out the Dooku Yoda fight, it cuts out pretty much most of 2 as well. So there's 5 minutes of 1, there's like 20 minutes of 2, and then the rest of it's just 3.
Well, 3 is the best.
3 is the best one. And I think that's really good because that's not this weird kind of like anti like fun thing that like the remake is. They're just positive, like weird. It's creation. Like they're taking an existing thing and going, let's just morph this into something
that's
that
so
we think
awesome.
is really cool.
I love that. Yeah.
And then sort of similar to that, the original trilogy sort of I guess like archival system program is people sort of going, okay, George Lucas kept re-releasing the original trilogy with like special effects and different edits, and him trying to like fix them. People are like, no, the original was fine. So there's a group of people who have been trying to sort of find and touch up the most pure version of the original like they can find. So like, some guy was like, so originally it was just the VHS. And like, but that looked really shitty. So then some guy was like, it was released like once on Laserdisc in this country and it wasn't touched. And then they got a copy and then they uploaded it and then they did some digital retouching to fix the coloring. And then they sell like DVDs of it now and like stuff like that. Cool. And it's like all of the money goes, they don't like keep the money because obviously legal reasons of that. But, they distribute this version of the original trilogy
they're
that
making
is like
something positive.
Yeah, for them is like they were like, we enjoy this film so much. Here's like the best version of it.
So cool.
But this remake is like, we fucking hate this film, so we're gonna throw it in the bin and replace it, and we're not gonna fuck Ridley, get her out of here. She's the worst part of the film. It's only gonna be about Luke Skywalker, and it's like
it's the opposite of what Star Wars means.
Like you're not contributing anything. Like you feel like you're adding, like. You're not. You're actually just kind of taking things away. Yeah.
So I was talking to someone online the other day. Someone had emailed me about something, and you'll know who you are if you listen to this. Really nice guy, but like had emailed me something quite aggressive, and I emailed back, and I was like, "Hey, we should talk about this." Like, I had this interesting opinion. We chatted, and what we're talking about was like I did this video essay about like the Dark Tower, and if you could like fix it. And my ultimate conclusion was like, probably not. Like, it's
kind of bad.
Like, there were too many directors involved, and it just kind of felt it was nothing, right?
Yeah.
But like, they were interested in like why I thought that I had the right to like reshape it into something that I thought it could be good. Like, they were like offended that I'd messed with something someone else had created. And something that I was interested in was I pointed him to. So the Nerdwriter has this video where he re-edits Passengers.
Yeah.
And and it's really interesting because he doesn't like. It's not like a presumptive thing where he's like, this film is bad. He's like, oh, this film could have been different and really interesting to me, so I'm going to reshape it to be that. And that, like, he's creating something positive and new.
And it's not like these edits are going like, the originals suck. This is what you got to watch. It's more of a case of like,
his supplementary.
We like this, but like we like it enough that we're going to put effort into making a version that we enjoy.
And that's what people who make like Star Wars fan films.
Yeah.
Which they're all set in a forest for some reason. I guess it's an easy set to
Everyone's
find.
got access to a forest, yeah.
But like, they're really cool and interesting, and like, it's usually like 2 minutes of like poorly delivered exposition and like a lightsaber fight. And usually like really cool because it's like, my God, someone is making something.
Yeah.
And that's so exciting and cool. The thing that I hate about this discussion that's happened is, and like, again, like, it's a bunch of people who are really just spitefully putting down, like, and this is the thing that bothers me. A lot of people worked on that film. Like, a lot of people worked on The Last
it's
Jedi.
not just
people
Ryan
with
Johnson.
Families and wives and friends and like a professional career, and some fucking middle-aged dude or some kid on the internet is like telling them like, this film is bad, I hate you, you're the worst. And like, they're just turning up to work and like making their salary and going home and like hanging out with their kids and their wife or their husband or whatever. And like, that sucks to me that, you can't just have the modicum of respect to be like, I didn't enjoy this particular version of it, but here's a really positive thing I've done from it and I've learned from. But no, they just go, we hate it, let's redo it, here's all the money. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, it's Disney. I don't understand, like, and they say, oh, we'll distribute it, we'll show it in theaters. How?
Yeah.
Do you not understand how like distribution rights work? Like, none of that makes sense. Why would Lucasfilm be like, yeah, you can distribute this on our behalf? Like, do they just have no idea how films work?
I have like an inkling that like the whole like Jedi remake is just like an elaborate troll, which like,
oh, God,
but if it is like, even if it is, or like it probably is, like like the fact that they've just put up like a pledge website, we don't actually have to give money.
But
like
it's
like, I mean, it's Poe's law. It's either like
it's dumb enough.
It's either an idiot or it's like an elaborate troll.
It's
but
dumb
like,
enough to be real.
Even if it isn't, like, regardless of what the status of the remake is, whether it's like legit or just some guy being really snarky, the discourse that is like surrounded it has really, it's like it's brought to light that there are people who exist who legitimately want that to happen.
Yeah.
And then there are the people who are like either crazy enough or funny enough to sort of pretend like they're doing it.
Love.
Or attempt to do it. I don't know. Like, who knows? It's probably a troll. I'm putting my money on it being a troll.
I would kind of love to see it though. just to see what they make. Like, because how you... I think that this comes back to like something that we've talked about so many fucking times, which is like, it's really easy to say this is bad, but it's really hard to say I enjoyed this despite its flaws, and it's also really hard to make things. Like, that's like, okay, here's what you do if you're an actual like grown-ass human adult. You see The Last Jedi and you go, that rubbed me the wrong way. I thought it was bad. I thought that the representation was like, was just like straw polling to like get people.
Whatever,
it's like dumb. Like, make something better. Like, be like, okay, well, I made good art. Here it is. Enjoy it. I'm successful. But they don't. They just go, well, this is bad and we're going to remake it. Like, no. What if you went, okay, I didn't like that, but I'm going to spend the next 3 years working on this dope-ass book or this script or this whatever it is, and then putting it into the world and saying, I didn't enjoy that thing, and here's what I think the potential was. Like, even you could just make something.
Even if you're not sort of like inclined to put creative effort into something, it's like you can have that opinion and still exist in the world without ruining other people's lives.
I feel like we do that when we don't like stuff. Like, we're able to like have a conversation about it without being like, we should fucking kill yourself. Like, we have like a conversation of like.
I mean, that's sort of just, we're just talking to human decency, but it's
but in pop culture, it doesn't need to exist, or on the internet.
Yeah, I think there's there's going to be people who are like, I think that's bad, or like, I think this film sucked, who like just have no desire to even like make a film, and like those people, that's most people. but it doesn't. It's the kind of thing where it's like, just sort of take it for what it is. Maybe understand that it's moved on. Star Wars is not for you. You know, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine. Also, like,
film.
Do you need a hug? Like, because like whenever I
Do you
see
need a support group?
Yeah, like whenever I see someone on the internet who's like that level of like angry, I'm like, I just kind of want to hug them because it seems like that to me is like, and this is something that I can't credit or quote the person that first said it, but people on the internet like that are lashing out so that other people feel the pain they're in. And whether it's like, because like, it's probably not about Star Wars. Like a big life lesson.
Yeah.
Like a big life lesson. This isn't like part of the pop
Probably
culture
not Star
discussion.
Wars.
A big life lesson is when people do something bad to you, it's almost never about you. It's always about them. Whenever someone is rude to you, it's probably because like their husband is in a shitty mood, or like because their kid was acting up so they didn't get enough sleep, or like because their boss is an asshole. Like it's almost exclusively never about you when someone is unpleasant or rude to you, unless you are rude to them. So what I would say in this scenario is when you see someone online like that, and this is what I've loved seeing from a few people, is instead of being like, well, you're a fucking idiot, like treat people like humans, they go, hey, do you need a hug? Are you okay? And that is the right response. When someone is just like spewing hate and being like, Ryan Johnson's a fucking idiot, Daisy Ridley should kill herself, but like whatever, like don't be like, well, these people are lunatics. Be like, hey, are you okay? Like, do you need a hug? Like, what do you? And they're gonna be like, go fuck yourself, fuck. But like the only way to defeat this shit is to like actually like reach out and be like, hey, what's up? Like, why are you acting like this? Why are you saying these things? Are you okay? And yeah, it's easy to write these people off as like white supremacists who hate black people and women and stuff. And maybe they do. But like, you're never going to beat them by going, well, these people are fucking morons. Even though they are acting like that.
Yeah.
Most people aren't insane. Most people are okay and they're fairly rational. But they're reacting like that for a reason. I just think in this discussion, if you can help it, try and be... If you're like on the side where you're like, you know what, the film was fine, or I hated it, or I liked it, but whatever, I moved on with my life. Like, try and be at least a bit compassionate to people that are so angry that it seems like they might explode, because they're probably the people that, if you're nice to them and you try and like at least extend like some civility, they tend to just be like, oh, I never really thought of that, or like, yeah, I'm lashing out because of this. Like, just a tiny bit of compassion goes a super long way, and I feel like that, in general, is a good thing to carry forward in any discussion on the internet. Like, just try and treat people like people. I think whether you're driving or on the internet or you're, whatever it is, it's just like a tiny bit of compassion will make the world a better place. And if everyone was a bit nicer, the world would be like a much nicer place. I don't know how we got to like NPR
the
meaningful.
art for philosophy.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah. We got very like NPR at the end.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? We should end the episode, but do you have any final thoughts? Because you brought up some really interesting points. And, like,
No, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that'll do. Don't be a cunt is the lesson from today's episode. If you got any recommendations, anything you've been peeping this week?
Yes!
Oh!
I do.
First time in a month. What have you been checking out?
So we don't have internet. We have nothing at home. We have the TV and that's it. And we've been watching this show on SBS. It's a Japanese game show called Versus Arashi. And so the gist of the show, it's a Japanese game show, so it's a bit wild. But there's like a Japanese boy band group called Arashi. I don't know how to pronounce it. And they every week there'll be like a team of people from like, usually like a Japanese TV show or like a community group or something. And they'll come on and they'll compete in these games against the Arashi team. And like, it's super basic. The games are kind of silly. They're not the weirdest Japan things. They're kind of like, just like, kicking balls to knock
no
down.
One's bathing in Fanta.
Yeah, or like bowling. It's like a bowling game where the bowling balls like roll up and down like a hill, so it's a bit more like wild.
The bowling ball's not a person.
Yeah. They're not bowling people.
Yeah.
But it's really well... Either A, it's really well localized, or B, they're actually just fucking hilarious, because like the banter between all of the Arashi team and even some of the guests who come on is so funny.
That's great.
So it's on SBS, which if you're not in Australia, that doesn't mean anything to you. But it's called. That's the only place I know where it is.
That sounds awesome.
And yeah, we watch that like every night because we have nothing else to do with our lives.
If you
you probably go on YouTube and find some probably.
If you you don't have internet, I was gonna say, like, I've been watching Todd Sampson's Body Hack 2.0.
Right.
And it's really, he just did like an episode last week where he went to like these kung fu monks in China and learned kung fu.
Oh, that's good.
And this dude, like, I shit you not, like this is like this Japanese dude who was like learning kung fu, stood there like this, and a guy like broke a wooden beam across his back, but like a wooden pillar.
Yeah.
And he just stood up and he was like, didn't hurt. And I'm like, but I'm doing that, and also I've been playing I finally bought the Fallout 4 Far Harbor DLC because it was on sale, and it's really good.
Oh yeah,
It's like the best part of Fallout 4 is that DLC.
I also bought Crash Bandicoot on the Switch.
Yeah, I knew you did.
I've been
drilling that to death.
I've finished both Crash 2 and
You're
3
such
already.
a sad boy. Let me know when you get back on 3 and tell me how it went. But yeah, it's also Drake's album is really good. If you haven't listened to it, Drake's
new
album,
Gorillaz out as well.
Scorpion, also very good.
There's a new Cat Empire song out.
There's a
also
lot,
very good.
a lot of music.
There's a
came
lot
out
of
this
stuff
week,
coming
actually.
out
Yeah.
recently. Yeah.
Oh, Florence and the Machine's new album is really good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of music this week, which is kind of weird.
Right, for the next month, I'm off the hook of suggestions because
I think that's how this show
I brought a
works.
lot to the table today.
That's very like pandery to yourself, being like, "Well, I'm
is.
off the hook. I did it one time
Did it once
in
a
2
year.
months. I'm good."
Once a year.
But where can people find us, Ben?
Facebook,
DCMworks Social,
YouTube,
youtube.com/DCMworks,
Twitter.
at DCM_works. Why does that fuck me up? I think it's the at. I have to
The
think
ad.
about.
Yeah, you forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, at DCM_works.
Patreon.
Patreon.com/DCMworks. Interface Part 7 is out. I went kind
boy.
of ham on the editing.
Jesus.
I like kind of lost
It's been
my
a
mind.
while, yeah.
And I made it real creepy. Because I've been promising
good.
it for a while, and I was like, oh, we kind of lost some, we lost some audio. And I made it up with, I kind of filled in the blanks with some creepy shit. So really look forward to that.
Jesus Christ.
It's the first one where I really went in. So I'm thinking of like maybe remastering the others once we're done and making them also really creepy.
Oh,
Because
no.
some of it, like, I managed to get it to a level where, like,
You figured it out?
well, like when I was editing, I was uncomfortable, and I thought that was a good sign.
Oh, that's good.
So look forward to
Yeah.
that. If you're a Patreon, $3 plus subscribers get access to that. But also my book is out, which is kind of crazy.
The book
came out today or
properly
yesterday.
out.
It's out now. It was out last week, but it's like officially out today.
Spectacularly out today.
And if you want to buy that, it's at maynardtrig.com, trig with 2 G's. You can buy it there or on Amazon Kindle. iBook apparently is next week, but they've been real froggy with us. The audiobook will come out in the next month or so. We're kind of finalizing that at the moment. It's sort of this weird genre pastiche of like steampunk and sky pirates, and it's really fun and interesting, and I spent like 2 years on it. I'm really proud of it. If you want to buy that, there should be a promo code in the show notes that will get you like 15% off the ebook, but we also ship paperbacks worldwide, so you can just buy the book if you want, get the hard copy in your hands, and it's
Buy
quite
David's
thick, so
book.
you can maybe like hit someone with it if you wanted to. Not saying you should, but you could.
You could kill a man with maynardtrig.com.
You shouldn't, but if you did, you could then burn it, and the evidence is gone.
Yeah.
So it's like that story where like the woman kills the husband with like the frozen turkey, and then when the police come, she feeds them the turkey, and they eat the murder weapon.
She doesn't feed them the husband.
No, that'd be fucked up, Ben. What are you talking about? But
Yeah, the turkey thing's fine.
the husband. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's not Hannibal. You can buy the book, maynardtrig.com, 2 G's. Would appreciate it. And Patreons have probably got the post about how to get your signed copy by now. It's going to be really complicated, so bear with me as we go through it. But if you're a Patreon, check out.
Yeah, David doesn't know how to sign his name yet, so
I can't actually read. It's been a complicated I've been using Dragon
You're gonna have to
speech
wait. You're gonna have to wait a bit for us. Yeah,
tune in for
We've
that.
got some stuff to work out.
It's a
We're
process.
sending him to
man.
Numberworks.
Yeah, it's tough. I need to go to like a tuition school or
Yeah.
something. But otherwise, if you want to follow us individually, I'm at DCM I Hate Pie.
I'm at Literal Citrus.
And we will see you guys next week.
Hopefully.
Well, you do better finger gun than I do. Yeah, you got like so if you do them together, is that because you got one of it? Yeah, I got it. All right, well, got some like oily palms there with the sound you're making.